Shalom to everybody, and we'd like to give a webinar today about the Simcha, specifically about creating Simcha Rechargers. So let's start with affirming to ourselves that we want to attain Simcha. It's very important to have that inner conviction that I want to dedicate myself to this. I want to attain Simcha. I want to make it happen. So please write in, if you could write me a message, that I want to be happy, or I want to attain Simcha, or I seek to get more Simcha. So let me see your message, and it's good for you to write that in order to be in the proper mode to Mitzvah Hashem, make it happen. Good. Okay, wow. Fabulous, fabulous. A lot of people. Okay. Skayach. Okay, excellent. So now, wow, it keeps coming in. Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, so we'll work today about how to attain Simcha. So the story actually happens like this. There was a boy who learned by me in yeshiva many years ago, and he kept up the kesher. He's a neighbor of mine, so he kept up a regular learning schedule, and he went to Tzahal, to the Israeli army. He didn't become an active soldier. He had an office job, and he used to go to his office, and he was there all day. So he davened Shachris, and davened Mincha, and he davened Ma'ariv, and he had a 10-minute seder in learning, but nothing more than that. You know, time constraints were what they were, and he just felt. He told me he feels like life is a schlep. It's monotonous. You get up and you go through the motions and you come back and like nothing is happening. No exciting depth. The excitement and the freshness and the vitality he's just missing. And he asked me, how can I give him a chizuk? You know, I write about Simcha, I teach about Simcha. How can I give him a chizuk? How can I do something to guide him to get out of that monotony and to get into a high level of Simcha? That's actually what he was asking. So I think it's a question. It's very well expressed by him in his unique situation, but it's really a question that we can all connect to, because everybody wants more Simcha, whether you feel life is monotonous or even if you feel life is happy. But there's always so much more to attain, so much higher to get to. And the question is, what's the secret of getting that? How do we make that happen? Okay, so I sat and analyzed it together with him. We said like this. Let's first establish a few principles, a few important principles. Number one is what he seeks is not an inspiring talk. Why? Inspiration has a limit how long it can last. How long can my inspiration last? A day? A week? That's it. The human heart is not built to retain inspiration long term. We can't do it. It doesn't happen. The most inspiring thing I will tell him will not last more than a week, right? But we want the inspiration to last long term. So what do we do? How do I give an inspiration that can make an impact on life and not just on the short term that I'm giving it? That's a good question. The answer must be in the direction of creating a Simcha Recharger. What does that mean? If I give someone a present, a laptop, okay, nice present, how will it work? Well, a laptop has a battery. Yeah, but how long does the battery last? An hour, 2 hours, 10 hours? That's it. And then it dries out. So what happens now? So what? So I'm giving a present for 10 hours? That's it? And then it's gone? No, of course not. What's the answer? The answer is that I'm giving a recharger also, which means that when he runs out of energy, he's able to take that recharger, plug it into the electricity, and then he's able to recreate more energy, refill his battery, and then the laptop keeps working, right? Okay, that's exactly what is happening over here. If I want to give inspiration long term, I can't make it inspiration alone. Inspiration alone wears out like a battery. But if I give a recharger, if I teach a person how to recreate the inspiration on their own, then I got it made. Then this is something that can last long term, because you have the power to recreate your own inspiration on and on and on. Okay? Am I making sense? Give me a yes, and we'll be able to proceed from there. Raise your hand, send in a message. Good, good, good. Fabulous. Okay. So, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so we want to know how to do it, how to make sure it lasts long term, how to make sure it doesn't wear out. Okay, let me see if I can make here. Okay, so we're going to learn how to create recharges, right? Everyone needs Simcha, and a lack of Simcha is perhaps the problem of our generation. And there are solutions. And now we want to know what the solutions are. Presenting myself, Rabbi Margolin. Okay. How long can inspiration last? What is the secret? Okay. So we want to learn how to create rechargers. We want to learn how to make, how to re-inspire ourselves. Okay? We're up to that part of the analysis. So now, the question is, let's further deepen our analysis. Okay, so we go like this. Let's say I tell this boy, right, I'm still back with analyzing with this boy. Let's say I tell him, you know what you should do? You should go and find yourself a place to do hisbodedus, quiet introspection, and think and contemplate for 10 minutes a day where life is holding. Talk to Hashem, you know, Breslov style kind of, sing your favorite song, think about happy thoughts, try to look at the beauty of creation. Will that work? What do you say? Do you think that's going to be a good idea, good guidance, useful guidance in our quest? So give me an answer. Yes, no, why? Okay. I agree. Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting correct answers. Great. I agree with everything you said. Meaning, I see some answered yes. Some answered yes, but some answered no. And I'll tell you what I think. Answer is yes, it will, but only if you do it. And you know what? For most people, it's not going to work, right? It's only going to work for a limited time. Maybe it'll work for a day, maybe for 2 days, maybe for a week, but you lose steam, right? It's only for a few hours. It's momentary. It's monotonous. You need a high level of commitment to make that happen. And people don't have that. And if so, it's not a good idea. Meaning, no, it is a good idea, but it's not sufficient. It's not real life. We want something that's real life. We want something that's going to work, not something that's going to demand of us commitments or dedication past what a normal person can do. There we are. So what's the answer? The answer is in this following fabulous statement. The path to greatness is not in doing extraordinary things. It's in doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Oh my gosh, that is such a beautiful statement. I don't even know who said it. I saw somewhere someone who presented that, and they are so right. The path to greatness is not in doing extraordinary things. I can't ask you to go to a mountaintop and look at the sunset and every day start dancing for joy from it. You know what? It's not going to work. But what I could tell you is to take the ordinary things that you're doing every day and to try to do them extraordinarily well. What does that mean? Within the action that we do every single day, there's such a tremendous potential for depth if you learn how to connect to it, how to unlock that potential. So let's give as an example, if you're davening every day. Is davening something that connects you to Simcha? Could be yes, could be no. You could learn how to make it a yes. And then once you've done that, you've gotten a Simcha Recharger. Because you have that act that has the potential to make you happy, and you've learned how to make that into a recharger. And then you've taken an ordinary thing, meaning something that is part of your daily schedule, something that you're doing already, and you learn how to do it extraordinarily well. You learn how to make that davening something that gives you simcha. And you know what? Once we've done that, we've created a Simcha Recharger. Once we've done that, we've created something whereby everybody can take things that they're already involved in life and use them as a recharger to create more Simcha. And then, once we've done that, we've solved our problem. Of course, we need to work on it, but we have the direction. What do you say about this idea? Okay, share more thoughts with me. Good, right? Yeah. Okay. So, of course, we need to talk about how to make it happen. We'll get there. First, we got to establish the principle. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. Got your answers. So what you want to know is like this. You say, it sounds good. It sounds like the direction. But how do we make it real life? How do we apply it to making it happen? Okay, so let's analyze this a little bit together. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to connect to the depth of our actions. This is a beautiful concept. Every action we have has a depth to it. I like to give it as a mashal to Moshe Rabbeinu by the sneh. When Moshe Rabbeinu comes to the sneh, right, burning bush, so it says there that Moshe was going by, and a malach elokim, an angel, appears to him from the from the fire. And Moshe sees this fire that's not consuming the bush, and goes closer to look. And then Hashem calls out to him from the fire and says, Moshe, Moshe, and he says, Hineni. Okay. The question the Mefarshim ask is, 1 second, you started off saying that it's an angel, and then you say Hashem calls out from the fire. So who was it? Was it an angel or was it Hashem? Question. The Ibn Ezra says actually it was a malach the whole way through. Why does it say later on Hashem called him from the fire? Because sometimes angels are called by the divine name. The Ramban says that can't be because it says there that Moshe Rabbeinu had to hide his face, and Moshe would not need to hide his face from a malach. He was the greatest prophet, the greatest Navi that ever was. Therefore, says the Ramban, you know what the pshat is? Listen to this. It's such a beautiful, beautiful insight. It's such a pearl of an insight. Says the Ramban, the same event of having that fire had a more superficial level and a deeper level. On the superficial level, it was a malach. On the deeper level of that same event was Hashem. So Moshe Rabbeinu at the beginning wasn't connecting to Nevuah. He was just walking by. So at that point, he just connects to a malach. But then, when he realized that this is a prophetic vision here happening, and he thought about it and contemplated and looked into it, then he was able to connect to Hashem, who's in the depth of that same fire. That's the point. The point is that we can go through life doing actions. Actions are superficial. They are the outer wrapping of something that has inside it a very beautiful, intense energy. So we need to connect to the depth of our actions. So just like Moshe Rabbeinu connected to the depth of that prophetic vision, and he was able to get from a malach to Hashem, we also were not on the level, of course, of a Moshe Rabbeinu. But what we want to do is connect to the deeper level of our actions. So we want to be in the mode of having a greater realization of what it is that we're doing. So how do we do that? So it all goes into the thought process. The Mesillas Yesharim says, when you do something, don't just jump into it. Because if you jump into it without mental preparation, then it's much harder. What we need to do is have a mental preparation. So if we take the mashal of davening, davening needs a preparation. Even if you're a busy person, even if you're a housewife that has 10 minutes to daven, Rabbi Nissel, my friend Rav Menachem Nissel, wrote a book on davening for women, right? Rigshay Lev. And he tells me that when he speaks to women about davening and they ask him how to make davening meaningful, he tells them, you have only 10 minutes to daven, so I'll tell you what to do. Daven for 9 minutes. but devote 1 minute before that to mental preparation. Mental preparation means putting yourself in the mode of connecting to a depth, connecting to the divine potential of the action that you're doing. And then when you do that, then you realize, right, then you realize that the action is not enough. I mean, you realize for yourself, you know, I'm involved in an action, but this is really a way for me to connect to a deeper level. So what you want to do is put yourself in that thought process, in that mode. It means connecting a minute before entering to do things. Davening, kibbud ava'im. So far we're talking about mitzvahs. We're going to go further into other areas of life soon. But so far when we're doing mitzvahs, right, davening is like an easy one. It's very, because the whole action is really a spiritual action, but we're doing it in a physical way. We're just, you know, davening is saying words and standing in a certain position. And this is something that you're able to do only physically, only with the outer dimension. But at the same token, if we can learn how to delve into the depth of the action, then it becomes very, very inspiring. It becomes something which we connect to a deep emotion. And then when we get used to that, meaning when we realize that, you know, davening has that potential for depth, then throughout life, whenever we daven, we'll say to ourselves, 1 second, I don't want to do this just in a monotonous way. I don't want to do this just with the outer trapping. I want to make sure that I delve into the depth of this event, of this experience, and I want to make it an experience. And then you make sure every time that you approach davening, you try to do it with the mindset of, I know that there's a depth here, and I want to be connecting to that depth. When you approach things with that mindset, then they're tremendously inspiring. And that's a secret of making a spiritual recharger out of the things you're already doing. If we go on the screen back to our previous statement, the path to greatness is not in doing extraordinary things, but it's in doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Take that davening and make it into a spiritual recharger. How do you do that? By making sure that your davening is deep. By connecting to the depth of what you're doing, by the realization that there is so much spiritual potential here, and then you're able to make that a Simcha Recharger. You got that? It's a beautiful thought. Okay? Now, I see there are questions about what if you want to do it and you don't feel it yet? Let me tell you something. This is a process. Nothing is what they call in Hebrew zbeng v'gamarnu, at the snap of a finger. It's a process, you know. You have to teach yourself. But it's like having a ladder, you know, that the Hasidim say that it's not the job of Hasidim. The Rebbe's job is not to bring the Chassid up the ladder. The Rebbe's job is put the ladder there. The Chassid has to climb himself. That's how Hasidim say. That's how it is here. This is the direction. The direction is through the knowledge of connecting to the depth of our actions. When you have that knowledge, it's going to bring you there. When you have the knowledge that you need to dedicate yourself to connecting to a depth, then It's going to happen. It's going to come. Because then you're going to have that mindset, and you're going to realize, maybe there will be times, let's say, that you daven and you just went through the actions, but then you're going to tell yourself, oh my gosh, that's not the way to do it. I got to do those ordinary things extraordinarily well. You realize, there's so much more potential there than what I've just lived up to. And then you're going to learn, you're going to teach yourself, you're going to get more used to getting into the depth of your actions, and then that itself is going to be something that's going to give you a constant recharging, Emir Hashem, on a daily basis. Okay? Give me a hand if you got that. Oh, great. Great. Fabulous. Okay, thank you all. Good. Okay, excellent. Now I want to keep going into other aspects of life, seeing the big picture. The problem of monotony is when we're detached from seeing the big picture. Let me give you an example. How does today fit into life's big picture? When the Stipler was sick, he had a whole team of doctors and nurses that took care of him. And when eventually he was nifter, so his son, Agon Reb Chaim Kanievsky sat Shiva. And at some point during the Shiva, the whole medical staff, the doctors and nurses, came for Nichum Avelim. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky told them the following. He told them a story about the Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim once approached the druggist in his hometown, and he said, you could be involved in chesed all day, or you can be involved in doing a job all day. You have a choice. And it all depends on your decision. Meaning, what are you doing all day? You're selling medicines from the drugstore, right? Now, what's your involvement? Are you involved in making money? Are you involved in the thought that everyone has a business? I have a business. My business is selling these medicines. Okay, so you sell medicines and you get money and people pay you, and that's how you make your money. Or are you involved in chesed? You realize that there are people who are sick, and you have the power to help them because they need certain medicines and vitamins and antibiotics and what may be, and you can provide that for them. So you could be involved in chesed all day. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't get money for your actions. Of course you do. This is your livelihood. But then all day, you're not involved in making money. You're involved in doing chesed. You're involved in the ideal. And then it's an act of chesed throughout the day. You know how inspiring that is? So Reb Chaim Kanievsky told that to the staff, and he told them, this is especially pertinent for people who are working as doctors and nurses. They can get into the mode of, I'm making money. You know why? Because I'm a doctor, because I'm a nurse, because that's my livelihood. And then I go to the hospital and I have a 9-to-5 job, and at the end of the month I get my salary. And then what do you do all day? What you did all day was you made money. That's not exciting. It's not inspiring. That's not simcha producing. On the other hand, if you can get into the mode of realizing, all day I'm involved in chesed. I'm helping people out. There are people who are sick. Doctors help them get better, hopefully. Nurses help with all their needs. You know, a patient is stuck in bed. He needs who knows what. So what does a nurse do? Is she involved in a 9-to-5 job and comes home with a monthly paycheck? She could, but that's so that's doing an ordinary thing in an ordinary way. Let's do an ordinary thing in an extraordinary way, or extraordinarily well. So let's think about the fact that you have a chance nonstop to do chesed to people and to help people out. Of course you're going to get money at the end of the month, but that's okay. But then you're involved in chesed all day. That is so inspiring. That is so idealistic, right? So how does today fit into life's big picture? Now, what if you're not a doctor or a nurse? This works for everything in life. Because anything you do, whether you're a taxi driver or a computer programmer or an artist or into OT or anything, whatever you're doing, right, people are paying you. They're paying you to help them. They're paying you to do something on their behalf. So please don't see yourself as involved in whatever it is to try to make money. See yourself as involved in trying to help humanity. And then you're involved in chesed all day. That's so beautiful. So how does today fit into life's big picture? This is step one of this thought because we're going to take it even further and deeper. But tell me what you feel about the step one that we just spoke about. Give me a response, please. Give me a written response. Raise a hand or write something, and then we'll go even deeper and see how it applies even to other aspects of life. Getting responses. Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. It's a nice, encouraging thought. We got it. Fabulous. Let's take it deeper now. I was talking to a girl who learns in seminary, was visiting Eretz Yisrael, spoke to me about this topic, and she was studying to be a nurse. And I told her this idea that we just presented about how a nurse can change her perspective, how she could do her ordinary job extraordinarily well, right? And then I told her a step further. And here, this is something that's very, very beautiful for every single person in whatever stage of life. I told her, you're studying to be a nurse. What is your involvement all day? You're not involved in chesed. You're involved in studying physics and biology and chemistry and I don't know, whatever stuff they study there. That's not very happiness producing. I told her, yes, it is. You know why? Because you're involved in chesed all day. You want to help people. So you're going to be a nurse. When? Down the line, another year, 2 years, 3 years. You got to get that diploma in order to be a nurse. Only once you have that diploma, you're able to help out people. So, in all the process that you're going through, in order to get to that diploma, that's also part of chesed. Because a person that wants to do chesed needs to learn all the physics and biology and chemistry and all the stuff that maybe is boring and not related directly to chesed, but it is. Because you need to go through all of that in order to get to your ultimate goal, and that ultimate goal is to be a nurse that's able to help out people all day. So rather than going into the biology class, saying to yourself, a boring class on biology, rather than that, take a few seconds before the biology class and say to yourself, here I am preparing to do a chesed for so many people throughout the years. Because when I become a nurse, I'll be able to do chesed on a daily basis for many, many hours, for many, many years. And it's only if I take this class in biology. So here I am preparing to delve into chesed by learning this biology class. You hear that? So I'm involved. So let's contemplate, how does today fit into life's big picture? And then when you do that, you know you've just created a spiritual recharger. Because then everything that you do is basically part of the preparation towards the glorious future of Emir Hashem being involved in chesed. We can extend this to wherever you're holding on life. If you're in the shidduchim stage and you're preparing yourself for married life, right? Emir Hashem, when you find the right person that you'll be able to connect to, be able to build a Jewish home with. So really, every day is another link in the big chain that's going to bring you to the glorious future. So when you have that realization, it gives you a daily inspiration every day. It's not just, another day. No, this day is another link. You can't do without this day. This day is another link towards getting where you need to be getting to. And as long as you have an ideal of where you want to be headed, those two words, be headed, right? As long as you have that ideal, so then every day fits into that ideal. When you see how today fits into life's big picture, then it becomes a recharger where every day has its own spiritual beauty, because today is another link towards the big picture. Got it? Beautiful thought. Give me a response. Yes. 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 Fabulous. Okay. Got positive responses. We're getting through. This is where it's at. How does today fit into life's big picture? Right? When you have that realization, then you realize that that's the path to greatness, because you're doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And then at every stage in life, we can even take it a little bit further and put it into the context of you being a part of Am Yisrael. You are a part of the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation has an ideal. We are here to create a chain that started at Har Sinai and is another link and another link and another link till we get to Mashiach. And you know what? Every single one of us is a link in that big chain. And as a link, it gives us simcha. It gives a feeling of belonging. It gives a feeling of purpose. And when we have that feeling of purpose, that knowledge, I'm not just someone stranded in the middle of nowhere doing something. No, I'm part of a big nationwide effort of leading from Har Sinai to Mashiach. This is an effort that all of Am Yisrael dedicates themselves throughout their life for thousands of years, millions of people, and I'm a part of that. I'm a part of that. You think about it, you contemplate it, it just becomes so inspiring. That's a spiritual recharger. So that's the answer to our quest. The answer is that we want to be able to get to connect our thought process to the quote-unquote ordinary things that we do in life and do them extraordinarily well. Extraordinarily well means to connect to the big picture and to get to the depth. The depth is always where Hashem is. The big picture is always part of my ideal. What my ideal is in life, what do I want to accomplish, and seeing every day as a part of that ideal. But think about it. I'm not saying you have to put 10 minutes of deep thought into it, but try to awaken that awareness within you. And then you see that every day becomes a part of that big process, and today's fits into life's big picture, and then it's a daily inspiration. See yourself as a part of Am Yisrael, and then you realize that you are part of that effort to keep Am Yisrael going for thousands of years. Yeah? So I know we're not all the biggest tzaddikim, and we all have problems, and okay, but so what? That's not the point. The point is, here I am as a member in good standing, as it were, of Am Yisrael, that is, Emir Hashem, progressing with all of Am Yisrael in doing the best I can to making the Jewish nation continue, to making Hashem's goal in creating the world continue. And that way, when I connect to these ideas, then I'm making spiritual rechargers. And then in Mirz Hashem, I can always reconnect to these throughout life. And that makes the inspiration last in Mirz Hashem long term throughout life. Okay, good. Yeah, someone asked me here, it's spiritual recharges to be a part of Am Yisrael, but it's also a huge responsibility. It is a huge responsibility. You're right, and we have that responsibility anyway. It's okay, it's good. But when you realize that you're doing your part, it's good. We have our downfalls, we have our progressions, but you know what? You are a part of who Am Yisrael looks forward to. We're not just built on Chafetz Chaims, we're not just built on Lamed Vav Tzadikim, we're built on quote-unquote simple people like me and you and her and him, and every person is going to have his part in progressing along with Am Yisrael. Yes, it's a responsibility. Yes, it's a glorious, fabulous niche to be in, and it contains such a tremendous inspiration. It's just such an inspiring thing. Don't be caught up with like every coin has its both sides. Let's realize the positive side here, because it's so beautiful. The responsibility side, we'll talk about, figure out how to deal with that. But the inspiration that's there, the spiritual recharger that's there, the ability to connect into daily simcha that is contained there is just awesome. And that's the secret of creating spiritual rechargers. That's the secret of being able to re-inspire yourself throughout life, right? So what we spoke about today was the depth of a mitzvah, connecting it to Hashem, making it not just a superficial action, but rather an action that has depth. That realization itself will inspire you to connect to the depth. We spoke about fitting today into life's big picture, into, first of all, whatever job you're doing is a part of the ideal, right? You're helping out people, you're doing chesed. We can talk about maybe one more quick aspect is the power of a compliment. When you give a compliment to somebody, that's so recharging spiritually and simcha-wise. It's actually a mitzvah. You all know the Rashi says in Parshas Noach, Hashem says to Noach, Os harisi tzadik lefanai badar hazeh. So Rashi says that that Noach was actually a tzaddik tamim. But Hashem only said tzaddik. Why? Because you don't say full praise of someone to his face. Yeah, but the full words of what Rashi is, of the medrash that Rashi is quoting say, and you do say partial praise. Give people a praise. Give people a compliment. You know, when you smile to someone, they smile back. And that becomes very inspiring. Learn how to give people a good feeling. You know what? They'll give you back a good feeling also. That's a beautiful thought. I just touched on it in very, very brief. I have a question. What if you feel inner simcha, but you're not in the mood to have a smile on? Do you truly have simcha in that moment? You know, that's a good question. It's a good question, but the answer is going to be either yes or no. You know what? It's better if you smile. You know what? You don't have to be smiling mode all the time. It's okay. But as long as you're in the general simcha mode of life, that's fabulous. Nobody smiles all the time. You know, everyone has their non-smiling moments. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. But as long as you know how to have happy moments, and of course we want to have the more the merrier, then we're really doing the job like we should. I just want to tell you that introducing a Simcha course, Rabbi Arlavsky, or David Arlavsky, and myself have recently created a Simcha course, and it's all about how to attain Simcha. It's a unique course based on a Torah perspective, and Rabbi Arlavsky, if I need to introduce him, he's someone that has, he's like one of the most famous speakers in the Jewish world. A Simcha course is not just random ideas. It's something that is well planned and thought out in a systematic approach and how to bringing you from point A to point B. And we have, Baruch Hashem, excellent responses from participants. It's practical, it's fresh perspectives, it makes people appreciate life. It's things that people really warm up to and feel that it helps them. And we have many years, each one of us has many years of teaching experience. And we wanted to just bring this course to your attention. The full price for the course is $847. This is 8 classes of mine and 8 classes of Rabbi Arlavsky. But I wanted to tell you that we have a special introductory price of $499. This is altogether 16 classes, right? 8 classes of mine, 8 classes from Rabbi Arlavsky, each one presenting a perspective on a different aspect of Simcha. It was well planned out. You know, there's steps and systematic approach. And I want to tell you that for those who register today, we have special bonuses. I have a ebook, PDF format of a book on Simcha, plus 3 classes of Rabbi Arlavsky for free. He has a website with his classes, and special price for Simcha webinar participants of $499, and it gets you the whole webinar plus a special Power Simcha class on video and Simcha ebook and 3 classes of Rabbi Arlavsky for free, and a special bonus, number 4, for first 20 buyers only, 10 weeks of email support. And you can email us, and we'll try to give you the best answers we can for whatever the situations that come up, for whatever issues that you want to discuss. So to buy now, go to the address that's on the screen right now, and you know, if anyone would, I certainly hope that all those who buy it will be able to share the positive responses that we've gotten from the participants who have joined us in our classes till now. We have a money-back guarantee. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, all the money back, no questions asked. Be'ezrat Hashem, guaranteed to inspire you to add much more simcha to your life. To buy now, go to margolin.ravpage.co.il/sale, and you can purchase the course online. And for more information, send us an email to simchacourse@gmail.com. Mirz Hashem will answer all inquiries. And that is the crux of today's webinar. I'd like to thank you very much for attending. And Mirz Hashem, we should all have a happy Purim. Great. Thank you for the responses. Thank you for the responses. Beautiful. Keep coming. Very, very good. Okay. Have a wonderful Purim. Have a wonderful connection to, oh, wow. Thank you. Yesher koach. Fabulous. Seeing all these responses is very, very heartwarming. And, you know, Mirz Hashem will be able to get together on more additional opportunities for some more inspiring thoughts, and wishing you all a fabulous life full of simcha. Shalom.